All right, testing. 1, 2, testing. You can go ahead and say anything.
Hello.
All right. Okay, we're going to go ahead and begin the show.
The future of mankind.
Oh my God.
Depends on a hot tub time machine.
Patriot.
What?
Yes, it works. Now.
Oh, what? Executive producer Dick?
Yes, executive. All right, 3, 2, 1. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? How's it going? This is Gamerload Live on Twitch, which with me is Kermit the Frog.
Hello.
Don't be shy.
I'm not shy.
With me, we're going to do another special about Gamergate.
Oh boy.
Yes, we're going to be talking about Gamergate. Nothing but Gamergate. This whole crazy 6 months, as they say.
Yeah, I can't believe it's gone on this long. Personally.
Yeah, I personally couldn't believe it.
Mm.
Oh boy, I gotta say, it was just crazy. This whole Gamergate thing just went off uncontrolled.
Yeah, well, I mean, we've died how many times now? 5, 6 times. Oh, this will just die out.
I think it was 9 times, and
yeah,
I think already what's his name? 50 Cent already said this. Damn.
But I mean, it's really the best part is, like, you know, this whole thing wouldn't have happened if people in media had just said, okay, that's fine. If you want to see more of this, we'll do more of that. Instead, the whole backlash has just meant that it's picked up so much traction, and now people that wouldn't normally have chimed in to something that was initially quite small, like now we've got mainstream devs from Ubisoft and things chiming in. You've got mainstream media people chiming in, and it's really kicked off. So
I do agree, because if they would have never done this whole narrative thing, saying, "Oh, this is bullshit. This is total bullshit," they would have gotten away with it too if it hadn't been for us.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it's odd. I mean, hell, we wouldn't have even known about things like Game Journo Pros if they'd just turned around and implemented ethics policies and stuff, and still managed to keep GJP behind closed doors. People probably would have turned away and gone, "Yeah, okay, cool. You've put ethics policies in place. We'll leave you alone now." I
know, and a lot of people were questioning it since the whole Gamers Are Dead articles popped up, and they happened on some of them happened on the same day.
Yeah, it was all within a few days of each other at best, and they all contain the same sort of language and the same sort of narratives, and then it was just a bit like, okay, this seems a bit dodgy. So
yeah. But I'm going to go ahead and we're going to begin with the topic here, which is Law and Order SUV.
Jesus Christ.
I know.
Train wreck.
I know that episode was horrible.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, talking about it, like, when did it air? Was it last week that it aired?
It was probably 2 weeks ago.
The amount of discussion over it almost feels like beating a dead horse, but except this one just continues to give. This is the gift that keeps on giving. I think the best thing to come out of it is all the OC people have created coming out of it. It's great.
I know. Already Polygon's saying, this is not our fault, this is someone else's fault. Everyone's just pointing fingers at each other, saying, "Oh, I never did this." And then Leigh Alexander just went off and pointed at Polygon. Everyone was pointing fingers at each other, and I think Kotaku was already ashamed of themselves for being mentioned.
Yeah, it's like they were all they're all pointing the finger at each other. Meanwhile, they're trying to figure out whether the episode is pro or anti-GG anyway. They couldn't even figure that out for like a week until they finally settled on, oh, this is actually, this is more pro GG. And it's like, okay, how you got to that logic, I don't know.
We won't even do this shit. We won't even do it.
It's just like, but you know what? If you're going to spout a narrative for 6 months and say, oh, this is all the game's fault, blah, 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 and then you get called out in this, it's just like, and then you turn around and go, oh, why are they demonizing gamers? It's like, holy shit.
Now you realized, because
and
of course, Short Fat Otaku brought up a very interesting point about it, is like Maze and Monsters all over again. That old movie that starred what's his name, Tom Hanks.
Oh, I've not seen that.
Oh, it was a pretty creepy movie. I seen it once and I never got. I thought it was an okay movie.
But I mean, I think a lot of people continue to draw parallels to, the whole, with different evolutions of forms of media, you end up with a group of people who crusade against it for certain reasons. I mean, we've had video games are the devil's tool and all sorts of shit.
It
started out in movies, and now it's just made its way to games. And maybe it's because games over the past sort of 10 years has become a seriously maturing medium that a lot more people are playing, and it's much more widespread. And then the question becomes, well, if you're concerned with the depiction of women in games, why are you not concerned with the depiction of women in media, in movies or TV or music? Why is it only games? And I think it's to do with the fact that it's come to a point where it's moving in to a much larger audience, and it's sort of a time where you can make the change that you want if you're in certain positions.
That I can agree with. Because go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, because you can't, I don't know, if Leigh Alexander went up to, I don't know, Universal Studios, Paramount Pictures, and was like, oh, this movie is sexist because the lady has a bikini on, and then she gets kidnapped, they'd just be like, shut the fuck up. We spent millions on this, and we're going to put it out, so piss off.
I know, they really had to go, there with the whole group of people looking like Anonymous. They had to go there, and then I had to agree with Socks about the whole thing, because the fact that they hacked into a light board.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, because technically, if you were in theater, you would know that in theater they don't. It does. You don't need a computer to hack into a light board. It's just a switch.
Yeah.
It just dials.
I still enjoyed SVU's depiction of conventions in general, which apparently just appears to be a collection of goony neckbeards that walk around yelling "Go home, gamer girl" to any female they see on the show floor. Which is like, are you fucking bonkers?
I know. It's like, I don't think anyone does that at a convention.
No. And it's like, okay, so just direct them to footage of any convention ever, like San Diego Comic-Con, New York Comic-Con, BlizzCon, PAX. It's just like, holy fuck.
I know.
How do you think that this is what conventions are actually like?
I think they were trying to go with that whole reality of that incident with the cosplayer.
Yeah, I mean, to an extent, but I guess, in certain instances, I mean, if you look at BlizzCon's costume contest, every year that is a huge thing, and you end up with like hundreds, if not thousands, of people dressing up
for a love that can endure
cosplay,
any fashion trend.
You don't see anything of, harassing behavior or anything like that, because it's a very inclusive fan base, and they're all everyone's very enthusiastic about looking at
many
people
formulas to
sort of
strong.
cosplaying these characters, and it's just it sort of baffles me that you do get situations where people are harassing. Especially, if you've spent all that money to go to a convention and you're going to do something that's going to get you kicked out, it's just like, why?
I know, it's sad too.
Yeah,
it's just so sad because they went with this whole thing going like, okay, we're gonna write these lines to make people remember. Of course, they're gonna remember. They're gonna remember laughing at this.
Oh yeah,
especially the part where the girl said they leveled up when she got beaten.
It's just it baffles me that managed to slip. That someone obviously sat down, read through the script, and went, "You know what? This is good. This is good screenwriting, guys." Someone actually approved that to go to air.
I know. I was like, I can't believe they would use these cheesy ass lines like they uploaded to the darknet. And I'm like,
yeah, but the thing is, it's obviously not designed for the episode was not designed for anyone who actually plays games. It's obviously designed for people that, you know, they don't really know much about it. Because, I mean, they spend the whole first, 15 minutes going like, oh, he's a noob, and then defining it. Or he's
trying to explain everything to people about what it means.
Yeah. Oh, I can't find anything better than Civ 5 A Brave New World. It's like, oh my god, shut up.
He never plays... I assume he never plays them. He usually plays, like, shooters.
Yeah, but
Ice-T is known for that. He's been known to do. He did one game, which I believe it was. He was in the DLC for it. It was what was that game? Oh man, I keep forgetting. It was Gears of War, I think 3 or 2.
I'm looking it up. See if I can find it. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't designed for people. Anyone that knew even a modicum about gaming was laughing their ass off at that episode. So
I know, and he's been known to play video games. Yeah, he went to E3 for Christ's sakes to play video games.
But I mean, even as an episode, it also broadcast a really bad message anyway. It's just like, oh, if you get harassed and stuff, tough shit, you've lost. They win, you lose.
It's more like if you get harassed, you're bound to get raped. And I'm like, not really, not all the time. It's a 50-50 chance that's going to happen.
Well, I mean, I don't know statistics or anything.
I don't know if it is true. It's it's like yes and no. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen in real life unless someone sent you a pizza and said, "Here's a free pizza for you."
But the message put across was if you're a girl and you want to do games, tough shit. You're going to go and you're going to get harassed and you're going to get raped, and then you better quit because you suck.
I know, and that was the wrong message. They sent. Yeah. They sent the wrong message to women, and that really kind of like all of us at Gamergate were like, what? No, that's not what we're all about. We're trying to tell people, look, these people are corrupt. They're trying to put their own crappy ass games out there for people to buy, and it's like, because they.
Oh, you're preaching to the choir at this point.
I know.
But it wasn't designed for anyone in Gamergate. It wasn't designed for anyone in gaming. It was just designed to be sensationalist TV because it's just meant to be entertaining. Yeah, it's shock value. It's like, oh, what can we do to drive up numbers this week? Let's have someone get raped and then kidnapped by luchador terrorists.
I know. I kind of agree because it was like so ridiculous. Already 8chan's like making fun of it, going like. I can't help it. I looked at all the memes and everything, and it was just so ridiculous. You see one with a luchador mask holding cooking on a frying pan. I was like,
I mean, holy shit! Hot Wheels bought that domain so fast.
I know. Actually, I know who bought the domain. He did it and linked it 8chan for it, and that was Michael Jordan.
Oh, it was Michael Space Jam. Excellent.
Yeah, he actually bought it because at first some people were like, because what happened was when everyone heard Reddit Chan, everyone was like, quickly buy that domain.
Yeah,
and there was like one guy that was like selling it for like 14, I think it was like $30,000.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Yeah, he was gonna sell that domain because he bought the name.
Blimey.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. We got it now.
He's
now
got
everyone is a proud Red Chant member.
Yeah, because he put Red Chant it. It's like he put like iced tea.
It was great.
It was so hilarious.
God. Yeah, I mean, I think everything that can be said about that episode has been by now. We've had 2 weeks of people talking about it on Twitter, on 8chan, on Reddit, on streams. It's just like, just the gold mine of stuff it's created is just fantastic.
It just caused a lot of comedy. That's pretty much what it caused. It caused a lot of people to be like, from the tragedy. In the end, it was tragedy, but it was sort of like a play of comedy.
Well, I mean, this was meant to be anti-GG's sort of, killing blow, and it backfired in their face. And then on top of that, it managed to insult all gamers, regardless of what you think about Gamergate or otherwise. If you play games, you were pretty much slandered in that piece. And so a load of people who were neutral or didn't really have an opinion then jumped on and said, what the fuck?
I know, because a lot of it had to do with that whole, oh God, that was the sad part about it. When I read the article from what was that website? Because people got their source from whatchamacallit, not Polygon, not Kotaku, not Game Journals Pro. It was basically Wikipedia.
Oh God! Oh, this must have been while the thing was going on, while the arbitration hearings were going on.
I know, and Wikipedia was very much. They had like several people writing and editing, and then you find out they were all connected to a friend, which you all know is Men in Black.
Yeah, Wikipedia is a mess though.
I know, and it's like
but then you have people like who was that guy that got banned? Was it Mark Bernstein or something?
I think so.
Who got banned, and he then went on a rant on Twitter, regardless of the fact
it wasn't
that he was
Mark. It was Ashcroft. It was Ashtenberg. I forgot his name.
I don't know, but one of them basically went off. There was Ryu Long got banned anyway, but then people were just like, there were loads of articles coming out saying, "Oh, Wikipedia bans feminists,
editors."
And it's like you're ignoring the fact that people like Ryu Long had already previously been in trouble for this exact same shit.
Yes,
and for patent evading.
Yeah, because he went on Reddit on Gamergate. Talking about stuff which he wasn't supposed to do this. He wasn't supposed to talk to Gamergate. He wasn't supposed to talk to NeoGaf. He wasn't supposed to talk about none of this. He was supposed to remain neutral about it. But unfortunately,
or anyone
in the matter, because it violates everything that you stand for as a person. You're trying to promote an image that you're remaining neutral here. But instead, you went off, edited a lot of things, deleted a lot of things, and people were starting to question it. And then they find out that you were on Reddit talking to Gamergate, which is not a good thing.
Well, no, I mean, the biggest problem was purely the posting of completely unverified information. That was the biggest problem. And then whenever anyone from people, the thing is, editors that could arguably be called pro-Gamergate were actually more neutral. They were literally just removing information that was posted without a verified source. And then the problems were that there were a lot of verified sources being posted that were Kotaku citing Kotaku, and it was just
citing Kotaku. Yes, it's just like, everything is perfectly fine. Kotaku's completely innocent of everything.
Yeah,
Kotaku.
Well, yeah, exactly. It was like, well, that's not evidence. If you can give us solid evidence, then yeah, this can stay on. Otherwise, it's not solid. Removing, and then they throw a huge bitch fit about it.
I know, and a lot of people were upset with that, or a lot of people were upset with Rylong because, and then you find out he had a big meltdown when he got removed. He blamed Gamergate. I was like, look, it was your fault for engaging with Gamergazi and your fault engaging with NeoGaf about this.
But I'm still surprised he was still editing on the site after he'd previously been in trouble for the same shit.
Using his...
So yeah, I don't know.
I just
Wikipedia's a bit of a mess now. Yeah.
Yeah, because right now everybody's like starting to question this whole narrative.
Well, it's all coming out now, and now that there's been this huge backfiring of this narrative that the media themselves have pushed out, people are starting to actually question it.
I was surprised by this because a lot of people were kind of upset by the episode, and it was just ridiculously funny. And but it was just a tragic story. It turned from comedy to a tragic story because of all the cheesy lines they made in that story.
Oh yeah. Any sort of message that SVU was going to attempt to push just got shot down underneath a massive pile of shitty puns and one-liners.
And right now, Polygon, Gamma Sutra, they're on full damage control because of this episode.
Oh yeah.
Because everyone was like, this is your fault for fucking up the whole industry. You realize that all the gamers that we... Go ahead.
Well, I was just they sit there and they go like, "Oh, why are you suddenly attacking gamers?" And then everyone's just like, "Well, look at the articles you posted maybe a month ago, saying, "Oh, gamers are dead. Gamers are shit. You need to stop." And then people like Clay Alexander who are like, "We need to stop catering to gamers. We need to start doing this, that, and the other." And it's just like, well, you know, you brought this on yourself. And especially, you know, if you get name dropped in the episode, then that's just more proof that you brought this on yourself.
I know.
So,
and we were like, this is not our fault. This is their fault.
Oh yeah.
It was because basically it was all Leia Alexander's fault for doing this. And I realized we were basically trying to we were trying to tell Leia, look, this is your fault, not ours. You kind of went off on us on a rampant rant that you did about gamers are dead. So that's technically your fault. Now you're trying to back off from this. You're in. Sorry.
Yeah, that's it.
And it's sad too because a lot of people were really upset. Were really upset with Leia about this.
Oh yeah. But
and, I mean, and right now, Polygon's trying to blame it on Leia. It's like, that's your fault.
Yeah, well, you know, in the words of Randy Harper, you made your bed, now fucking lie in it. So
it was so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they fucked that up.
I just personally have to say that episode was terrible, and it sent a really, well, I do agree, it sent a really bad message to women in the video game industry because honestly, if you ever heard of any of these women, like for example, who developed Sonic, was she raped? I forgot her name. Kayako, I forgot her name. It was Kayako Kamandoma, who was who started out in Sega back in the 80s, and of course she made some of the 2D Sonic games and then became a producer. And surprisingly, you know, she's still in the industry.
Yeah.
She's like 60, she's like 50 or 60 years, she's like 60 to 50 years old right now, still working in the industry, still doing things, and are people like us calling her names and such?
Oh yeah.
It's like, no, it's because the reason why people are calling out the BS that they're pulling.
Oh yeah.
That's the only issue that people have with this whole situation. People have an issue with the bullshit that's happening because they're calling out the game developers on their bullshit right now.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy.
Yeah. Pretty much.
And everyone's thinking, "Oh, this is misogyny." Okay, so back in the 80s, where a Japanese woman who made games, who made Sonic the Hedgehog, who made oh boy, Kimiko Ryokyo Kamadama, who actually made these games. She made several games that were very popular. And you're going to call every gamer a misogynist because this woman doesn't... And this woman actually existed in making these games.
Yeah.
Not because of her... Not because she was a woman, it's because of her skills. And in an interview that she did, she talked about it.
Right.
Because I honestly got upset with that. I was like, you know what? These people really don't realize what they're doing.
No, I don't. I don't see. What confuses me the most is you have a bunch of people who are actively vilifying their own audience, and then they turn around and they say, "Oh, it's fine. We'll find a new audience." It's just like, where?
Where?
Who?
Who are they that you think is going to be your audience? It's the same audience.
Yeah. Who's going to be your new audience? And you know, if you find some people, why would they want to be your audience when they've seen what you've done to your previous audience? And it's crazy. It's just like, oh, we don't need you. We'll just go elsewhere.
I know.
And magically expecting that business will continue as usual, which it most certainly won't.
Yeah. And especially when they're trying to betray some of the characters, like they got the idea of portraying Jenny Bojera and renaming her to Punjabi. I was like, the last name was kind of a racist because Punjabi is like a culture.
Yeah. I mean it was anything that they could do to make gamers look bad in that episode. I mean, oh look, it's not only is the dev a woman, she's also a minority. Brilliant.
Let's just put her in there.
Icing on the cake. Oh, what's that? End of the episode? Oh, you should go back. Oh, I can't because I'm scared. It's just like brilliant.
You know, she should have. You know, they should just rewrite her back saying update. She decided to fight for women again.
Yeah.
And it's like, come on.
It's baffling. Yeah.
Okay. The next topic we're going to go ahead. We're going to end it here. What are your thoughts on this?
Oh, are we talking Peter Molyneux?
Yeah, we're going to talk about the next topic. I'm going to go ahead and announce it. Yeah, we're going to talk about Peter Molyneux.
Nice. Blimey. I mean, I've said this before, as much as I am aware that Peter Molyneux is he's sort of known for under-delivering, and as much as I'm aware that he has a reputation for under-delivering, and as much as that annoys me, I do think Rock, Paper, Shotgun sort of were really shitty in their interview.
Yeah. They went full attack mode on him.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, when your first question is essentially, I think it was literally,
are you a pathological liar?
Yeah, are you a pathological liar? It's just like, well, what the fuck?
You don't ask that question because he was talking. He wanted to talk about his game Gordas or whatever it's called, Goddess,
yeah,
or Gaudius or something like that, and it's kind of sad that they went after his career because of this game and saying, "Are you a pathological liar?"
Well, I mean that's the problem. Is it all stems from Goddess anyway? Because this was, Peter Molyneux. He left Lionhead to go and work at 22 Cans. They did that. The Cube game was the first one, which was that mobile game where you tap the big cube, and in the middle was the mysterious prize. The mysterious prize was then an ability to be the god of all gods in Goddess. So basically, everyone that was playing Goddess was a god, and this one player would have the ability to do stuff in the game that would affect all other players worldwide, which was quite a cool concept. And also, he was going to be given X amount of money from the multiplayer component of Goddess, because he would, in effect, be part of it as well. So everyone was like, oh, cool, okay, Peter Molyneux's doing another God game. Brilliant. He's done Black and White, he's done Populous. He knows what he's doing when he comes to this genre.
Yeah.
And a shit ton of money got raised, and they basically have turned around and said, we're not going to be able to deliver the rest of the Kickstarter goals, which include multiplayer. I think it includes the majority of the ports. I'm not sure what else it's missing. But then to top that off, the guy that won the prize from the Cube game basically came out and said, oh, I've been messaging 22 Cans for months now, and I have yet to hear anything.
That sucks.
That was the icing on the cake. That was just like, and that was when it sort of all kicked off, because the interview was specifically about that game, and the game was like doing abysmally
Bad.
It was like, it had the funding, it had more than they'd asked for, and then it was it under-delivered, and I believe he said something along the lines of, oh, but I don't actually ask for the amount of money I really need. It's just like, well, why?
And then a lot of people were like talking about it. Were you trying to pull a fast one on people? And a lot of people were questioning it. Like, I remember some people were asking about the games that he did in the past, like from Fable 3. Everyone was like disappointed about that one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think... To me, he doesn't strike me as the kind of person that would ever intentionally pull a fast one and just do it for quick cash. I think Peter Molyneux's problem is that he is very, very passionate about his projects. He has... His mind sort of runs rampant. And he just comes up with a shit ton of ideas, and he's like, this is going to be the best fucking game ever.
And he wasted the money for it.
Chuck it all in, and he ends up either with a game like Fable 3, which has a load of like really cool ideas in concept, but due to time constraints and money constraints, they're always sort of really half-baked, and they don't turn out so well. He states a load of stuff, and then it never comes to fruition. So, I mean, we're talking about Milo for the Xbox Kinect. That interactive child that you'd be able to, you could show the picture to the Kinect screen and it would go into the virtual world, and you'd be like, wow, you drew me a picture, that's fucking sweet. That never came to anything. Fable the Journey was a massive
flop.
It tanked completely. I mean, my brother actually has that game, and it is an unplayable
It was
mess.
horrible. Like it wasn't like everyone was like claiming it was like, oh my god, it's like Skyrim, but except you can use your hands to cast spells and shit.
No, it was dull. It was essentially an on-rails shooter set in the Fable universe, and it was dull, and it was buggy and didn't work so great. And I think that anyone trying to do that sort of game for Kinect is doing it wrong, because the same happened to Steel Battalion. Just an extra note.
that game. I used to remember the old one was like you can actually use the controllers and everything. It was like the joysticks, the two joysticks, and you're sitting on a chair, and you have this little freaking eject button.
Oh yeah, that was the Steel Battalion that came out before. There was one specifically that came out for Kinect, where the idea was you'd sit there and you could interact with everything using Kinect. So like you could stand up and make like a binoculars shape with your hands, and that would make your character stand up and look out of the tank with binoculars and stuff like that. And in concept, it was really cool. And if it had been some sort of arcade experience with a custom built like seating and button system, it would have been such a cool game. But it was unplayable with Kinect.
Yeah, and I have to agree with that one. And also the only thing I liked about Kinect was Dance Central. That was the only thing that ever worked on that system.
Yeah.
That had more success because it actually made people move and such, and that was the only game that people liked. It was like DDR in a way.
Well, it's the only thing the Kinect's really good for is that sort of stuff. casual motion games. I
know,
think.
and that game kind of had the DDR experience where people actually play it hardcore, because DDR was very much physical in its own right, and it actually made people move. It actually made people, do the dance moves and everything so they can learn. It was pretty simple.
Yeah, I mean, I think in terms of Kinect, there are a couple of instances where it's used. If it's used as a supplement to an existing game, so if you use it like in Forza, you can use it to. It sort of does head tracking, so you can look around your car by sort of just twisting your head ever so slightly, so you can look in your wing mirrors. If it supplements a game that's already designed and works well in concept, that you can sort of just turn the feature on and off, and it's like a fun little thing, that's great. If it's a full-on motion game, a casual game, that's great. If it's some sort of hardcore game built around the Kinect, no, that's not going to work.
I can honestly tell you about my experience with Kinect. For example, Mass Effect 3, where you had to there were some things that are okay with it. It's like when you're trying to tell Liard to move to this area, or it kind of doesn't do that, but you can actually tell Liara, attack that person. Liara, attack. Liara, move forward. Liara, do this.
but I mean that's my point. That supplements an existing. The game and the control scheme and the mechanics have already been designed so that you don't need Kinect, and the Kinect is just a nice extra feature. But the game works perfectly well without Kinect. Yeah. But the gameplay isn't built around Kinect. Had the game been built around Kinect, it would have been a cluster. Well, it would have been more of a clusterfuck than Mass Effect 3 already was.
Yeah, so. And I know that right now we're off topic, but but it was so funny how Peter. It's just sad how Peter. They really are trying to kill him.
I mean, he's already come out now and he said, "Look, I don't have any credibility in the industry anymore," which is quite sad because the Fable series I've always enjoyed it because it's always had this sort of, it's been gentle enough to make fun of itself. It makes sort of crude jokes,
and you know what? It was actually a very controversial game as well.
Yeah.
Because I remembered the whole gay marriage issue, and a lot of people had an issue with that back then.
Yeah, well, that was one of his things. He was like, "Oh, you can be a man, you can marry a woman, you can have kids, you're going to be able to do all these things." You know what? Some of that stuff actually happens. Some of his ideas actually came through, and a lot of people just like, that's.
And he was one of the few people that actually did that for the game, and they just went. Bam! Attacked him for just one stupid game. One game. And they're not over it. It's like, look, he did a lot more. He progressed that game long before you guys said this ain't progression. He progressed the game forward with the narratives of the storyline, the character design, everything. He worked his ass off to make a game that would make everyone play.
Yeah. I mean, it was, and the thing is, personally, I have enjoyed a lot of the games he has had involvement with. I still enjoy Fable as a series. It got progressively more shit. So Fable 3, halfway through, going, "No, you're going to be king now, and you have to make these shitty decisions, and you better have saved up lots of money." That was like, okay, it was really half-baked.
Especially the DLC.
Yeah. Fable 1, still, I really enjoyed that game.
Yeah, they did okay. They did okay with that game. It was short, just like all the Fables. Yeah. It was short, but it was still good. Because you really enjoyed every moment of it. Because you basically, good or bad, you're still having fun with that game.
And I enjoyed Black and White, and even some of his sort of weirder games. So I actually own the movies and the movie Stunts and Effects expansion pack.
Wow.
Which was, that was quite weird. I mean, I just really enjoyed the sort of management aspect of it. I quite like management sims, so I quite enjoyed managing the movie studio and stuff like that. And it's like, that was kind of a really sort of niche game. And I mean, he's worked on all sorts that a lot of people enjoy. And I think one of the problems was they got a lot of money because he's associated with a lot of these games that people have a sense of nostalgia for. And so it's just like, oh, but he made this. How shit could this game he's going to make be? And it's the same problem that happens with Tim Schafer.
I know, and it's like
Exactly
at least Peter actually does his work. He actually spends time working on it.
Yeah.
And it's like the thing is, even if the product isn't really complete, he finishes it. He finishes it with not like a freaking sequel.
Yeah, and I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens to the Fable franchise now that it's in the hands of Lionhead solely under Microsoft.
Yeah.
Fable Legends I'm looking forward to because I'm interested.
Yeah, because you get to play this time multiplayer.
Yeah, it's asymmetrical multiplayer. So it's 4 players co-op and 1 player in sort of dungeon keeper style. Build your dungeon, send in minions.
It was more like Neverwinter Nights.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what it is. It's Neverwinter Nights, where you become the dungeon master, and you're.
Yeah, it looks cool.
I have to agree. It looks cool, and I have to say, designing your own dungeon is kind of a great concept, and being the villain in the game, that's a great concept as well.
I think it'll do well, especially because it appears to be, with Microsoft's new integrated Xbox experience. I mean, the fact that you're going to be able to do cross-platform play again, finally. With PC. I think so. The game's coming out on PC as well. It's going to be on Xbox One as well. You'll be able to play cross-platform. I believe you'll be able to play it on the Windows tablets as well if you've got one.
Yeah.
I mean, they've tried cross-platform before, and it was horrible. I owned Shadowrun on a 360.
I remember that game.
I got wrecked every time.
I remember that game. I was lucky I never played it. I heard so much junk about it.
It had promise, but PC players wiped the floor.
They were hacking
with console players every time. No, they were just, you had a mouse and keyboard. Response time was just so much faster, and even with aim assist and all the extra shit that the console throws at you, you don't have the advantage.
Yeah, that's true.
Whereas this game is going to be, it's asymmetrical. It's a third-person team-based game, so you're not killing each other. So it's not.
Yeah, it's more of about the person trying to kill you, and then you're the one. It's kind of like Evolve in a way. Evolve has that concept
except
too.
It doesn't have $200 worth of DLC before the game comes out.
Yeah, that I agree with, because right now they're becoming like another.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, they're becoming. Let's just say they're becoming like Team Fortress 2.
They're becoming like fucking Train Simulator.
Oh yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Oh man, I heard so much about it, especially when the Ander was like explaining that it was like $4,000 worth of DLC.
And then they're trying to appeal to PC players by advertising the PC Monster Race Edition, which still doesn't come with every piece of DLC. It's just like, holy shit.
I know.
So,
it's just tons and tons of stuff, especially, for Peter Molyneux, he promises DLC with good quality gaming.
I mean, I can't... What do we have? Fable had a couple.
Yeah. The Lost Chapter, which was...
Lost Chapters was just an extended edition, wasn't it? That was just when they ported it to PC and included a lot of the content they cut.
And they put it on Xbox, as I remember.
Yeah, I think that was afterwards. I never played the Lost Chapters.
I never did either, and I remembered that. I always wanted to try it out, but I never got the chance. But I might try to see if I can buy it on PC and just try it, if it gets less expensive.
I mean, it was just unfortunate because a lot of people put their money in on good faith. And I mean, to be fair, a lot of people are just like, okay, I think he under-delivers, but he still manages normally to deliver every main thing that he says. So he'll say, if he says, oh, you're going to be able to have multiplayer is still in there in some form. It's just normally half-baked. but this time it's just not come about at all. And a lot of people they've had enough of half-baked promises.
I know, and it's kind of sad that Peter, of all people, is getting hated on for this.
If you're going to front your company and you're going to be the one making exorbitant claims about your game, then you have to take responsibility when they turn around and they say, what's going on? Where are all the things you promised? If you're going to go out into the media and be like, I personally promised this, that, and the other, that's very different from someone in your studio coming out and saying, we hope to try and get this. Especially if people have pledged money specifically, where you've said, if we get this much money, we will do this.
I kind of agree, but at the same time, I'm wondering about this, because every time when controversy strikes, something's going to happen when they're going to promote his game.
Yeah, well, I think the biggest problem here is that it's a Kickstarter problem. That if you were kickstarting any other random person, you'd still have this problem, but it's not a reputable name, whereas this is a Kickstarter by a big name. So the same would have happened the same has happened with Tim Schafer.
I know, and Bobby Kotick kind of explained that he had an issue with him a while back over the fact that he would spend a lot of money doing extravagant things and couldn't even get the game on couldn't bring out the game on time.
But the same's happened to David Braben, who did Elite Dangerous. I think they cut some component. I can't remember what component it was they cut, but they cut a component from that when they'd promised it. They're still working on it, but they cut it for now. So that's happened. If Star Citizen does the same thing, Chris Roberts will have the same shit.
Yeah.
So I think it's just the nature of the beast. If you're a big name in the industry and you decide to use crowdfunding, you need to be very careful that you definitely deliver.
I know, especially when some try to go on Kickstarter again to ask for more funding.
Cough Tim Schafer.
Yeah, cough Tim Schafer.
Just the cheek to just ask for money for 4 different projects. Then go, then post a load of videos where you're rubbing money on your face and you've got like toilet roll made of money, and then you basically throw a huge party, and then you let your employees go because you don't have enough money, and then you close a load of projects. It's just like, seriously, that's just poor project management. Incredibly poor project management.
Yeah, because I remember a particular game called Beast Fury, which... Yeah, that game got funded, but at the same time, they were working on the animation for the game, and I kind of criticized about the fact that they asked for $40,000 in Australia. It was Australian money, and I was like, I think you're gonna probably need more money than that.
Yeah.
Because it was like they were expecting, their goal was to get like 40,000, which is fine, but you're going to need more than that to say that you're going to be working on this. And then they decided to, when they got their max goal, they decided to do it again and ask for more money. And I was like, really?
Yeah. I just don't like the idea of open access. Open access and Kickstarter gives you so much room to be fucked over as a consumer. And there's like a lot of times now, I don't know where they've gone, but demos used to be really big. You don't get demos anymore. It's instead of a demo, it's open access. It's an alpha. You can play it now. And then people spend all their money, and then the game gets killed, or someone runs off with the money, like what's happened with the Stomping Land. The guy's run off with, I think it's $114,000. And it's just like, and the thing is, Kickstarter says if it gets funded, that's it. It's not our responsibility anymore.
Yeah, and it's it's obvious.
Yeah, I mean, I'll admit I have backed a couple things. I've been lucky in the things that I've backed. So I backed Star Citizen, and that's now on like $72 million. So I mean, there's no chance that nothing will come out of that. They've already released content, and more content is coming. So at least with that, I've got something for my money.
Yeah, and there's also another game that I liked that was Shadowrun Returns, which was worth it.
Well, that's a prime example of a company actually making good. And now they've come through and they're asking for money for Shadowrun Hong Kong, and people are like, okay, well, you took our money last time and you made Shadowrun Returns, and you did a damn good job. So here, take more money.
I know, and they made $1 million off of that whole thing at first. Even though they didn't get the voice actors, I was happy to play that game, and I actually enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was actually a very challenging game. Even though it was difficult, it was a challenging game.
Some people are really realistic with the figures they ask for, and some people obviously are new to crowdfunding and haven't really done it before, and then they have a cool idea, and so they get a shit ton of money, and then it's like, oh, I need to promise all this stuff to all these people who keep giving me money, and then having not experienced it, maybe they sort of freak out.
Like Peter Molyneux.
Well, you wouldn't expect him.
I know. I feel bad for Peter Molyneux, and I know that Peter Molyneux, if you're watching, I'll give you a fair and balanced interview if you would like to come on our show. If you have the balls to do it, I would gladly interview you fair and balanced about your game. Even if you don't like getting rock, paper, shotgun, I'll give you a fair and balanced interview. It's not going to be about, I'm going to talk about the game. That's all we're going to talk about is the game.
Yeah. I just think rock, paper, shotgun's interview technique was very, very, very poor.
Yeah. All right.
For that.
All right. What are your thoughts on the last thing? Because we're going to go on another subject because we're probably about a few minutes away to get off.
Yeah, we are. Okay. What's the next topic?
All right. Let's see. It is about Gawker Media falling apart. Damage control all the way.
Oh, yeah. Because nothing screams damage control like trying to make Coca-Cola tweet lines from Mein Kampf. It's
yes,
just like,
especially they couldn't pay their interns money.
Yep.
It was it's sad too because they also own Kotaku. They own Jezebel. They own a lot of websites.
Oh, they own a ton. They own Lifehacker. They own there's a motoring Deadspin. There's a whole network.
It's a whole network, and yet they are freaking getting. Because here's the thing: they accused Coca-Cola of being a white supremacist group or something like that, or making comments about it. It was like no. Yeah. You realize that the CEO is a Turkish American, right? And he's a minority.
Mm.
And you're accusing the company of all things. You're going to realize if you mess with a Turkish person's business, you're gonna fall flat in your face.
I mean, especially if you're going to accuse them of being white supremacist, I find that.
Yeah, and considering now they're like the enemy of Gamergate now.
Well, they're sort of just a massive example of what people don't. Of what we're against. Okay, so this is a company that are like, oh, we've got naked pictures of Hulk Hogan having sex. We got told by a judge that we need to remove them, but we're not going to. And then they turn around and go, what's this? We've got iCloud leaks. Take them down immediately, you irresponsible people.
iCloud leaks of what's her name? Especially Christina Hutchinson or for whatever her name is.
Yeah.
And also a journalist who we know and everyone loves, but used to remember on G4, who is what's her name?
Olivia Munn.
Olivia Munn.
Yeah. And it's just like, so Gawker is sitting there basically deciding who they want to humiliate as if they're above the law. And then they're sitting there making jokes that Coca-Cola are white supremacists and basically making their advertising, their like little advertising
campaign, because they were trying to stop us. They thought we were the bad guys, and then it turns out Gawker became the bad guys. What they did was totally wrong because they thought that Gamergate was about harassment against women, when really it turned out we wanted Coca-Cola back. We thought it was cute, and I guess
It was a harmless advertising campaign that only became harmful when they started making the bot tweet stanzas from Mein Kampf.
I know, and they even bragged about it. I was like,
yeah, and then
God.
Then they said, "Oh, look what we got Coca-Cola to do." It's just like, holy fuck! How can you be so bonkers? And now there's the whole fair pay scandal with the interns, and the fair pay hashtag is trending on Twitter, and Gawker have basically told the judge that they think it's inflammatory.
Well, it isn't. It's actually free speech. Cause
it's like, what planet do you live on?
It's not inflammatory. It is true because you didn't pay your interns. Proven fact. And already they're just getting all upset with us connecting it with Gamergate. It's like, look, we didn't know at first. We just heard about it. And now everyone's knowing what you're doing, which is totally wrong. And the fact that you're making fun of us and you took Sam Biddle's statement about us that we should be shaming nerds and everything. It's like, oh man.
Oh, but Sam Biddle's a shit.
Oh yeah, he is.
But
he is a misogynist, by the way. He's the real misogynist, and yet no one calls him out for it. I'm surprised.
It's quite funny to see, like, in the court case, Gawker have basically told the interns, don't visit, we don't want you visiting Kotaku in action, because it's become a general criticism of the gaming site, so of Kotaku.
I know, and they had to.
Yeah, and they basically say, plaintiffs apparently would like notice of the lawsuit to be added to this munitions pile, but there is no justification for doing so.
And the judge accepted it?
I'm not sure, but like, if you go to Kotaku in action, you can see it's not just discussion on Kotaku anymore. It's a lot of discussion on Gawker and their dodgy practices, by the way. So it's just more shit. It's just more fuel for the fire for the interns that haven't been paid.
Yeah, and that's the sad part about that is that they're in full damage control on that one.
Oh, yeah, Gawker's had some completely ridiculous shit anyway.
I know, and already they're losing money on advertisements because of the Coca-Cola thing.
Yeah, it's all the advertisers pulled out. They're resorting on AdSense now, so it's pretty clear that all their primary revenue sources have collapsed.
Because
when you piss off someone as big as Coca-Cola, then other people are going to they're going to take notice and they're going to go right.
Because it wasn't the first time this had happened. This happened with Intel, and then Intel decided, well, we're going to go back.
Well, yeah, there was an email campaign by Gamergate to stop Intel
from supporting them, and it was like, and then they went back to Gamasutra. It was actually Gamasutra.
Oh, it was, wasn't it? Yes.
And then they wrote an article saying that Intel was bumbling idiots or something like that for supporting this narrative.
That was it. Yeah, and it's just like, well, look, they're gonna post. Well, the thing is, all the Gawker sites are essentially trashy blogs. That's all it is, and they can sort of walk around under the masquerade that they're journalists, and it's true journalism, but it's not. And I mean, they refuse to identify as journalists anyway.
Like they say they're a blog.
When they get pressed on it, they like to refer to themselves as a blog because it exempts them from
criticism,
from being criticized as a journalistic source.
I know, but it's kind of funny how they kind of monitor their little comments down below thing, and it was like every time I try to post something right there, they had to do it because of some incident that happened a while back.
Yeah, they police their comments ridiculously heavily.
I know, it's like ever since that incident, it was like, really? Oh boy, and it's kind of ridiculous how Gawker really tried to humiliate their audience. The audience that they knew on Kotaku, who used to go on there, now it's backfired on them.
Yeah, well, I mean, they've sort of fucked themselves over with this. This was very poor timing for the court case to happen to Gawker, because after the whole Gamergate thing, we've had a lot of advertisers have pulled out of Gawker. So they're already relying on AdSense now. And now you've got another court case, which is coming through. That's going to be... Hulk Hogan's got a court case. You've got the Fair Pay court case going through. So they've got to deal with both of those. And on top of that, I mean, was it how long ago was it when they said, "Oh, Gamergate, we've had a 7-figure loss or something, 6-figure, 7-figure loss"?
The end of January, I think it was like in January 1st.
Yeah. So all in all, their revenue streams are fucked, and
they had to pay a lawyer just to defend them too, and that's probably a lot of money that they're going to have to pay.
And now they're going to have to pay to defend on two fronts, on two different cases. And at the same time, they've pissed off like one of the world's largest companies.
Oh yeah.
So
they're going to pretty much go run down to the ground because they shot themselves in the foot.
Yeah. And I mean, when they're sitting there and all their journalists are sitting on Twitter going, "Oh, we need to bully the shit out of these people," it's just like, what?
I know.
It's baffling.
I know, especially you know, the Nick Denton left. Nick Denton left, and it was good. It was good riddance to him, because he couldn't handle the situation well.
He was the founder, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's just decided, this is a good time for me to cop out. I can make my money and leave, and not have to, and just wash my hands of it.
I know. Because it's sad that he had to leave, because now he's dealing with a lot of issues, and it's like most people like myself, it's like they don't give a shit about feminism. Why the heck are you going to support them for it?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not even a feminism thing. They managed to piss people off in every possible aspect. People point out the hypocrisy of the Hulk Hogan thing. They piss people off with their stupid clickbait articles, and on certain subsites that they have, they're directly pissing off their own audience. So it's just
and already they're going down and burning, because they already burnt enough bridges to know that they fucked up.
Yeah,
and even though what's his name, Mark Kern,
yes,
tried to mend that trying to mend it. It's not going to work, because people are already, the other side is already disagreeing with you on this, and they want to kill. They want to kill him.
Ben Kuchera has come outright and said, "I refuse."
I know a lot of these people are realizing. Look, Mark Kern was trying. He didn't know what the situation was. So if you're going to get upset with him because he wants to mend and try to end the conflict between the audience versus Kotaku versus Polygon, don't attack him for it, because that kind of thing is going to cause a lot more problems, because already you're trying to shame him for saying, "How dare you do this?" You don't do that. Mark Kern was nice enough to say, "Hey, maybe we should stop. Maybe we should talk about this as mature adults. Maybe we should have a discussion about this and try to figure out a solution." That's all he's asking, and yet you people are attacking him for it. It's like, look, at least several wars can always stop with a solution. Sometimes a solution.
Well, the thing is now, you know what? The solution was due 6 months ago. We came out, we said, this is what we would like as your audience. They said no, and then we found out some more shit that it implied that they were up to some shady dealings. We tried to ask them what it was all about, and they started attacking their own audience. So, there's still time, but they've dug themselves in such a massive hole now. I think that they sort of have to stick to their corner, because at this point, they're fucked. They've backed themselves into a corner. There's nothing they can do about it now.
That I can agree with, because right now already Gawker's going down. No matter Mark Kern said, "We're sorry, Mark Kern. We respect your opinion. If you would have done this a couple of months back, we would honestly do it. But due to the fact of how the other side is treating you,
I would love to see them say, you know what, okay, all right, we fucked up. This is what we've been doing. Yes, this is what's been happening in the background. You know, we're going to stop. We're not going to do that anymore. We're going to listen. That, you know, I'd be perfectly happy with that, but it's not going to happen.
I know,
it's just not going to happen.
It's not going to happen, and already, you know, even though Gamergate is considered the most misogynistic hate group that people think that it is by the media's narrative, but already people are losing their jobs because of this. People are... It's just crazy. And already Gawker Media is losing the battle of dollar attrition.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's going to be voting with people's wallets. These are people that rely on our money.
And our clicks,
our views, yeah. And if we're going to say, you know, I'm just going to read my news elsewhere, or I'm not going to buy this game because they have been really shitty about me as a consumer, then that's it. And then your money doesn't go to them. They don't get any money because you're not giving them clicks and views. And the market dictates. That's it.
And that's it. Anyways, guys, I gotta go. You can check us out on YouTube, which is down below here. And if you missed the show, thank you for watching. I'm gonna go ahead and go.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming, man.
It's my pleasure.
Yeah, because right now I kind of had to do this. Special thanks to Dick Wolf. Thank you, Dick Wolf. Bye-bye, guys. Take care and have fun.
Peace.
Peace. That was actually pretty good.
Ran over.
Yeah, even though I had to do that. It's such a good episode.